Hey everyone, I'm Erin Saxton, that girl from Jersey, and welcome to my show, That Girl from Jersey. With us today is Patrick Riley, and Patrick is the guy, the legend, the man. And he's also who I really would want to be sitting next to me at a dinner party when I don't know anybody. Because we know like everybody thinks I'm social and I get like shy. So this is officially my friend that I want at every party with me when I don't know anybody else. Or heck, even when I do know people. And his conversation skills is so amazing. He knows every piece of pop culture. And don't get him started on Diana Ross. He knows so much about this woman. It's amazing. He's an author, a producer, and he's the host of a digital talk show called Happy Hour. And he's the author of this book that just was released not too long ago. That's What Friends Are For. Patrick.
Thank you for having me, Erin. I'm so excited to be with the girl from Jersey.
Yay!
I'm a guy from Jersey, so
I know.
this is good.
We were just talking. You don't live too far from here.
Not too far. I'm in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. I've been here. I moved here from Atlanta in '95, and I lived in Ridgefield Park since then.
What made you move up here?
Jersey's
not for everybody.
No, Jersey isn't for me. I was moving here with an offer that came from CNBC to produce Geraldo's primetime show Rivera Live, and that opportunity got me up here to New York to decide if I wanted to live on the New York side or the New Jersey side. CNBC was in Fort Lee at the time.
New Jersey.
So Ridgefield Park became kind of the answer for where I moved for the convenience of that gig. I did that gig for 2 years, but it's become a great hub for me. I own now, and it's just kind of the place. It's my home away from home. I sleep in Jersey. I live in the city. I'm flying all over the world.
And you set the circus down here now on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Either way, New York, New Jersey, we're happy to have you.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
So you worked for Oprah a lot of times.
Yes.
And we have a lot of mutual friends.
Yes, we do.
So I'll try to bring you along, everybody, as
Right.
Patrick and
We won't do the Eddie Murphy Arsenio Hall. Do you remember Arsenio Hall show? Whenever Eddie would be on as a guest, everything was an inside joke, like everything, and they would laugh amongst themselves. No one knew what they were talking about, but it was entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
We won't do that.
We will not do that. But now I want to do that.
I know.
So let's just get her out of the way.
Okay.
Diana Ross.
Yes.
You love her.
I love her, and I've loved her from the womb. People love to say, you must have, you came out of the womb singing I'm Coming Out. Well, it wasn't out at the time. It was 1970. That song is 1980. But Diana was always someone who, even from when I was a child, I just looked at that sparkling creature that was before me on that little box called a television. And she spoke to me, not just through her performances, but as this curious kid, began to do and learn more, she became kind of this exemplar, this example of how to do life. You know, she came from the Brewster Projects in Detroit, Michigan, to become this great, amazing example of lady. I mean, we're celebrating her 75th birthday this year, and she's still touring in excellent form. I was able to gift her the book, in fact, on my birthday in November.
So we're saying you've officially met her.
Yes, I've officially met her.
Hence the photos.
And I reference a lot of the special times I've had with her in the book, Oprah's Legends Ball being one of them. I was the sole interviewer of all of the legends and youngins at that historic event that Oprah threw in 2005.
I wasn't invited to that.
I thought I saw you there. Are you sure?
She must have missed me.
Did the invitation get lost in the mail?
I saw her at the supermarket the other day, and she's like, I still feel like I should have invited you to that ball. And I'm like, duh.
It's interesting. There were a couple of names not on that list, and she was very clear to say, this is my Legends Ball. So be very clear. Be very clear. But what was interesting about that, it was a 3-day event. The first day was on her property, the Promised Land in Montecito. Then the second day was the Bacara Resort and Spa in Santa Barbara. Third day, back at her place, a gospel brunch. And the vision, we didn't know it would turn into an ABC primetime special. My first ABC primetime credit as a field producer. But her vision was that if you talk to them on the first day, don't talk to them on the second day. You know, we didn't want to over talk the guests out. But I spoke to Ms. Ross all 3 days. I really did not care what the rules were. We needed to connect. And she's always been open with me in that way. The opening night of Motown the Musical on Broadway, I'm interviewing her before she sees the show. She'd never seen a show that is featuring a character, Diana Ross, talking about the humble beginnings of Motown the Musical and the rise to great success. Well, Miss Ross said at the beginning of the show, she says, I want to talk to you after to let you know what I think. I'm like, Diana Ross wants to talk to me again?
Do you text her?
I don't text her.
Well, could you though?
I can email her.
So you have her private email.
I have her email.
What could we do to get you to text with Diana Ross? I'm just saying, like, I'm a goal girl.
I text with her daughters. Rhonda and Tracy are buddies. And so Rhonda, who lives here in New York, she and I have a chance to see each other socially. So often, I remember Diana's movie Mahogany was playing at the IFC in the Village. Big movie. Barry Gordy directed it. It was just a classic amongst fans of Diana and black folks, because it was kind of like women at that time, black women weren't often given the leads and given the opportunity to be desirable and sexy and all those things in the 70s, we're talking. And so they're going to do this retrospective. They're going to do the movie, and Rhonda's going to come and speak. I'm spouting about it all over social media, so much so that the thing sells out before I get my own ticket.
No.
So I have to, back to the texting, text Rhonda, and I say, Rhonda, I don't have a ticket. And I was able to watch Mahogany alongside Rhonda Ross and Bob Silverstein, who's her father.
I love this. So it pays to not be so organized when it comes to buying your own tickets.
It works out.
Do you
sometimes.
do that for hotels and airfare and
all
stuff too?
All of the above.
You're a last minute guy.
Absolutely. Well, even working for Oprah, when she did her final appearance on Oprah, season 25, I work for the show, so it's not like it's they have to hook me up. I work for the show. But because I was such a big Diana fan and it was the last appearance on the show, they flew me in so that I could kind of be a part. They let Diana greet me coming out of the green room, singing I'm Coming Out. And so she gives me a little moment that everybody in the world got to see. And then they seated me in the third row when Diana and the family were coming off the stage. The children were coming off the stage to do to be seated in the audience so they could do another surprise, which was to surprise Diana with Billy D. Williams. Rhonda sees me with her son Raif in her arms, and she says, "You made it," So the ladies next to me are like, "You really know the Ross family," So it's been a great love affair, considering that this is a woman, and many of these women that I write about in the book are the ones that I just dreamt. They were my dream girls.
That's
they really
wonderful.
were.
So just quickly about the book, where can everybody find this book?
This book is available where all books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can order it. Patrick L. Riley, That's What Friends Are For, on the women who inspired me. And it's really just...
Am I in this book?
Yeah, well, look, I
Volume
think when
2?
I do Volume 2, Erin Saxton, The Girl from Jersey, Chapter 1. Can we call it?
My face is going to be right here.
Each chapter has a scrapbook, which are pictures that I've just gathered from my cell phone or wherever I am and whatever I'm doing. I've just been in rooms with a lot of these great women. And I don't just talk about the A-listers like Diana and Aretha. I really wanted this to be entertainment diary and memoir. So I speak about the women who are important to me, but also the women who may not have had as many hits as Diana, but they're important to the culture. Exactly. And so I want to really... this book is really to remind us that these women are an inspiration. These social media times would reduce many a legend on any given day just because that's what you can do in social media, the trolls, if you will.
Exactly.
And I wanted to just remind people how great these women are. But I needed to also put it on the record that I was there, because at some point nobody's going to care. So I had to put it in a book.
Yeah, well, it's a legacy piece for you.
Yes, it
I
is.
think.
Very much.
So chapter 8, talk show host.
Yeah.
Here's my crazy, rigid segue. You're a talk show host.
I am.
Smooth.
That was good. And I've learned from the best. I have a great show, The Happy Hour Talk Show.
Let's talk about it.
I'm one of 5 professional gay guys, including Kendra Bowman, who's a Broadway show producer. Mr. David Hand is a Silver Fox, wonderful model in New York City.
He must be delicious.
He's delicious and getting ready for Fashion Week, which is coming up. We've got Derek Vidrine, who's just a wonderful, committed Harlem guy who does accounting, but he's into the business. And then we have Jay Beauchamps, who's a young Dominican cutie, shall we say?
Yes.
And and so the five of us really get together to talk about the stuff that any hot topic situation would talk about. We don't do the gossip, say, that Wendy Williams does, but we talk about relationships. We talk about the idea of LGBTQIA, trans rights, and what that looks like. We're learning, are you into the pronoun?
Yeah. Now,
Are you down with the pronoun?
So I love that you just segued into this because I'm down with it, but I need a little quick study. We just added a few more letters.
Yes, LGBTQIA,
start
elemental
me-
P, I say.
I mean,
but it's
honestly.
what it is. I think where we are now is LGBTQIA P+.
So can we go through it?
Oh,
Do you mind?
Well,
I mean,
let's
here's
see what
like
I know.
roughly,
Yeah.
right? But so we add, and I'm a chick, and I just feel like I get there's nuances, but
Yes.
there's such. Are they subtle? I mean, is it
Well-
because I feel like you like a woman, you like a man, or you like everybody. But
we
there's
have
a
to
lot
look-
more
there's
letters
a
than
lot-
that.
There's a lot more
And-
nuances. There's gender identity.
Right.
There's cis passing. It's all of these. Now that we're kind of over the gay thing,
Right.
we really have to kind of explore the uniqueness of what each of these letters represents, because what do we hear it all the time? Representation matters. And so, my experience is not going to be the same experience as my trans sister, my trans, woman friend. I have to know I am not to call her a tranny.
Right.
That's not
good.
politically correct.
That's just not nice.
But you
we
almost
need to be
don't know
educated.
unless you're educated. So the
Right.
Happy Hour talk show is a little a modicum of education.
Nice.
We're having these uncomfortable conversations, being corrected ourselves in the episodes so that we can kind of help people know that you're not alone in trying to figure this out, but also so that we can make sure our LGBTQIA brothers and sisters know that we want to know more. We want to get into the nitty-gritty of it so that it is established. One of the things I reinforce to one of my co-hosts is that it's very important that they say it's the young people. The young people have all these pronouns in the new glossary, and then they have to let us know, no, we have to collectively engage in the conversation. We as the old heads have to be interested enough to say, will you explain it? And you can explain it before you offend them. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I hope so.
We can get so caught up in, saying something that's kind of out of step instead of just simply getting the answers. So we're, through our show, trying to have some of those conversations to kickstart people into engaging. Even our coming out tales. We all have different stories and our families responded in different ways. We're a diverse panel, Black, white, Latina, and it's really interesting. Latino. You better get it. It's a nuance. Yeah,
See what I'm
Latina
saying?
being feminine,
I know. I
Latino
got
being
you.
masculine. Yeah, but it's literally this conversation of trying to kind of get into the specificity
Because
of it.
Spanish itself, conjugating Spanish
Yes.
is hard.
Yes.
When it's your second language.
Yes.
Then you put in identities and preferences and conjugate that. But so,
it's more than a notion, and yet I think in this era, communication, the playing field is leveled. You've got your amazing podcast talk show. I'm working the Happy Hour, and we're not waiting on The View or The Talk to book us. We're talking. And so it's really up to us to have these conversations so that we can all kind of have a better understanding.
So taking a piece out of the Happy Hour show, if we were to have a coworker or have a friend and we're not sure what to say or what not to say, and what advice do you have for everybody just to have that? So there's acknowledgement, there's respect, there's
Yes.
love.
Yes.
But there's also, okay, I don't know what I'm asking you, and I want to know because I just don't want to be ignorant, but I don't want to offend by asking the question. Like what advice do you have?
Kind curiosity. So I think any question is a fine question if it's premised with, I earnestly want to understand how to identify you or what distinguishes a transgender woman from a drag queen.
Right.
Because you might say that's obvious, but if it isn't, can we talk about what that is? And I think just sort of kind curiosity is what anyone should lead with to get the information, because it is not all there. It's new information.
Yes.
My joke one time with I speak to a lot of gay straight alliances in New York City.
Okay.
Wonderful organization, Live Out Loud. It's a LGBTQIA mentoring scholarship organization.
Wow.
Joan Rivers has been a part of it in the past, and a lot of great allies have been a part of this organization, which helps young people who are often persecuted in their own households, gives them hope, gives them an opportunity to continue to be their great best selves. And when I go into the schools, they say, "What's your pronoun?" Oh. Initially, I didn't know.
And what's the answer to that?
Well,
G?
my original answer was he, him, hey. Yeah. That was I just, and they laughed. But it should really be he, him, and there's a third. But where all of mine would be aligned masculine. But there's also in the pronoun a they. So there's a he or a she that may refer to themselves as they. And that's a distinction that is their right to have. And they might reference themselves as a they. Now that seems kind of like, it reminds me of before I came out of the closet. Wait,
you're gay?
I am gay.
What?
Didn't I say that? Didn't I mention that somewhere in the...
I'm shocked.
Did I say that somewhere? But when it's one of those giggles where when before I came out, it's like there's the boyfriend, but I'm not out yet. And so then someone says, "So are you dating?" You're like, and then my reference was like, "Oh, well, a friend said da da da." "Oh, well, what did he say?" "Oh, they said." It's like I'm just too shy to say it. But no, they now is a word of power that has nothing to do with that. So these are all the things that we all have to catch up.
How does it shift? Right? Is it just, and I guess, and this goes to any pop culture, right? And then we'll segue into now a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
But how do things take root and become like they, popular, trending? How does something, in your opinion, become from just something some girls doing in Jersey to something now that they're adding another layer or another explanation or a letter onto a very much bigger conversation? How does it groundswell like that?
Well, think about it. That in the 80s and the 90s, we were having rich talk show level conversations about gay life, coming out, and just sort of what that
HIV awareness,
all of that was kind of a part of the conversation. So to have opened the door on that has now, in these times, allowed us to open the door on the fact that it really didn't, that core conversation does not apply to everybody.
Sure.
So there's more to it. Even as a Black gay man, some of the ways in which my white LGBTQIA brethren have handled their coming outs, the ways in which maybe many of their families might have accepted them. There's a homophobia concern in the Black community. It just is. Yeah. And so I feel sometimes like a pioneer in a way that I reject in some ways, because I feel like we as a people should know better. But the truth is, there are some doors I'm walking through that are kind of explaining compassion to the people in my own life. They're just learning it.
Historically, though, that's shocking to me. Right?
Yeah.
Because the African American community, as far as not being accepted in persecution, slavery,
it's an irony of sorts. Yes.
And now we're now saying what I'm hearing.
Christian pathology and dogma somehow has restricted that tier of compassion that you would think Black folks would have.
Yeah. So it's not in their legacy. It's not in a mindset as far as acceptance.
Well,
it's a restart.
It's a restart, right? But it is in the legacy. If you go back to, if you really study Africa at the beginnings, the gay existed. It existed.
Absolutely.
Culturally, it existed. But somewhere along the way, it definitely got, it was a thing to not be happy about. I just, the Lincoln Center just wrapped a wonderful play, The Rolling Stone. And The Rolling Stone is about 3 siblings, one of whom is gay, in Uganda in 2010. And in 2010 in Uganda, there was a newspaper called the Rolling Stone.
Oh, okay.
And the Rolling Stone would put pictures and of people who they found out were gay and persecute them and shame them, and then the people would kill them.
Oh my gosh.
And this was acceptable behavior in, you heard the year, 2010.
So my son was born in 2005. So he's 5 years old. We're watching like SpongeBob.
Yes.
I'm not proud of that, by the way.
Oh, you should be.
Well, I love
SpongeBob,
SpongeBob.
yes.
But you know what I'm saying? And then to hear in the other part of the world, somebody is dying because...
Literally.
Wow.
And the feelings and the conversation that the play unearths made me say to the director, I interviewed the director, Saheem Ali, and I said to him, I didn't have to go all the way to Uganda to feel, offended by my people, because it really was about this young man trying to be who he was.
Wow.
And it just... they could not accept it, even though his siblings loved him, the people in the church loved him, but he could not be this thing that the Rolling Stone is writing about. And if he was, we had to just abandon him, And I never felt full abandonment from my people, but, they weren't so great at the beginning, if I could say.
Well, you can say.
And I did.
You can tell me anything.
Then I will.
Yes.
They weren't good. They weren't so great.
What made them come around?
I showed them what love looked like on me. I really did not sort of back off from appeasing them because of all those years in which I might have been told by a family member not to hold the bag that way, not to talk like that, not to say it like that. I just decided to sort of be who I was deliberately, lovingly. I wasn't forcing anything on them. I'm in a relationship 13 years with my guy Ant. He's a producer as well. I took him home maybe a year and a half into our relationship to Savannah, Georgia, the Bible Belt. Hello. And I didn't take him to stir things up. I was singing in a cousin's wedding, and she invited me and said, bring your special friend, as they speak.
Special friend.
As they
Bless
speak.
her heart. My
And
family lives in Greenville, South Carolina.
So you understand
bless
you
their
understand
heart.
the diplomacy of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And when we walk into the church, I'm singing in the cousin's wedding, the church choir, chock full of beautiful women, they're saying, who's he for? My cousin tells me this. Who's he for? My man walks in. Then I walk in, they're like, who's he for? And then my cousin says, they're for each other. Now drop it,
Nice.
And it was kind of a
Good
great
for her.
moment. But sort of, so just in action, I have been able to kind of teach them, like homophobic jokes. I'm wondering what's going to happen with Eddie Murphy and this Netflix deal, because, a lot of his hot humor really did have kind of a little bit of a homophobic leaning. Now, we laughed at the time. I remember as a little boy, I'd laugh, but I also would internally cringe, because I just wondered, at what point was that level of laughter and shame going to turn on me, right? As I'm watching the Raw. Remember Raw?
Yeah.
And
So did you know you were gay at that young age?
Internally, I knew. But I did, I knew where I lived and who I lived with, and I knew where I went to church. So to me, I'm internally having the conversation of, can I come out? Will I come out? At what point will I come out? But until I come out, is this what it's going to feel like? And it's exactly what it felt like. It's exactly what it felt like. That said, I think last year a moment happened, and I have a brother 5 years older. He'll still be a brother. Brother's still a brother. Yes. So he'll bust my chops. What's the way to bust my chops? Go the homophobic route.
Really?
And he did in a way that could have been another one of those shameful family moments. But because of how I have been in teaching them by example, you could hear a pin drop. Not a family member thought it was funny. And in fact,
well then congratulations.
My brother-in-law said, I think that was a slur. Wouldn't you say it was a slur? I'm like, I think so.
He gets a better Christmas present this year.
You get it? Do you get what we're saying?
I do get it. And I like that shift.
Yeah.
So what did your brother do in that moment?
Well, he apologized a day later.
A day later.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe
So that
next
means
year.
he had to get over me being that extra. He's being extra. He's being super sensitive.
Right.
But the next day he apologized properly.
Okay.
And that is kind of what I'm allowing room for them to
Catch up.
slip up from time to time, not too much. And then we can, let's have a loving
Does your
relationship.
family watch your show?
They do. They do.
And that alone
that
is
alone.
a shift, because there's other perspectives that you're not offering.
Absolutely.
That might shift them as well.
Yeah. And they get to understand that not my experience is my experience. And guess what? There are 4 other guys that have other unique experiences that are informing who they are and how they are today. And so, yeah, they've definitely softened. My dad's a retired Chief Master Sergeant from the Air Force.
Wow.
85 years old. 85 years young, I should say.
That's a tough one.
But he's been amazing.
That's amazing.
And one of my sharings, in fact, is how the people you think will get it may not. And then the people who you don't think. In fact, it was a sibling who said to me with my dad, he's out there. You've got our father out there researching famous people with gay children. So he's researching Cher. It was Newt Gingrich has a daughter.
Yeah.
Like he's researching these things. And my brother thought he was like hurting my feelings. And I said, no, you're telling me that our dad is smart enough and compassionate enough to do the research.
That's nice.
And instead of just coming at me outside of my name, which he never did, as my siblings did, but he actually did the work and the research. And it's not like he's so, over the moon happy that I'm gay, but he knows who I am and he loves that.
I like that.
I sent Daddy and his wife to see Diana Ross when she came to Savannah this year. And he says to me, oh my God, she was amazing. He says, I see why you and Anthony go all over the world chasing her. He's like, she is an amazing performer.
Now, what if Diana Ross had a crush on you?
What if?
Did she pull you back?
Oh, I've always joked that I'd go to the other side for
Right?
Diana.
Would you?
I mean,
come on, let's have some
what
fun
would
with
I do?
this.
I don't know what I would do. What would I do with her?
Well,
I'd play with her
I mean,
hair.
I don't want to teach you.
Right.
Who am I to teach you sex?
I did have a high school girlfriend.
You did?
Yes, because it was one of those things. I had to take the steps before I could come
Wow.
out. Yeah.
Were you like kissing
And
her?
I went to her. Oh, we did it all, and I loved
Really?
it all, and she loved it, and she loved me to this day. I went to her. I went to my man's high school girlfriend's wedding.
Okay.
And he came to, and we went to my high school girlfriend's wedding. And as she came down the aisle, her uncle was bringing her down the aisle. She blew me a kiss. My sister says, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" As if, "Are you sure?"
You could stop her now.
Right.
Right.
But no,
So
I
funny.
love her. Rachel, I love you. And she's still a great support. I'm going to be in Atlanta promoting the book. She's sending me suggestions on where I can come. And she's referenced as a woman who inspired me early on
Good.
as I found my way.
Good for you, Rachel.
Yeah.
I love you.
We love you, Rachel. Yes.
So let's talk about other women in Celebrityville.
Yeah.
So pop culture. What I'm a PR person as well as a former TV producer.
Yes.
So
a media professional.
I know. So like your Miley Cyruses of the world, your VMA performances. Like,
Oh, yes.
what do you think about when these news stories come out? So Miley leaves Liam for a
Yes.
woman.
Yes.
So it's a
Very
decent,
now.
It's a decent segue into our last conversation, right?
Yes.
But is that real for her, real in the moment? Or, because he's just so delicious.
He is delicious. But I mean,
she's gorgeous
she's
too.
represented fluidity in that
absolutely.
way over these many years. I think even alongside their timeline, she's just been open. And I do think the younger people are open. But you speak of the VMAs, they are kind of they're in the zeitgeist in the sense of they reflect kind of what is going on now, what we're accepting. This year's VMAs were really special because there is, like, in real time, Miley is addressing her personal issue on the stage in a way that I think people appreciate. A lot of these young folks don't even, they're not even identifying themselves as anything. They're sort of, they're not in relationships. Like we feel like you have to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They're kind of, there's a lot of openness with this new generation. So for Miley to express in her new material what was going on with the breakup and all that looked like. That's kind of right now. Missy Elliott, who coincidentally was a youngin' at the Legends Ball, now getting this Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award, utilizing the young people that she had in her videos then, now as adults. Like pop culture is really kind of trying to catch up with the times in a way. Normani, formerly of Fifth Harmony.
Right.
I had a chance to interview those girls for the Keke Palmer show. You know, when it had a little short-lived life. I think it ran on BET. Mm-hmm. And one of my, coincidentally, Candy Carter, executive producer of The View.
Yes.
Was the executive producer of the Keke Palmer show at the time.
Wow.
And so she brought me on to go talk to the girls. They were doing a shoot. And to see the five of them now, two of the five now transition into being solo artists, they're kind of becoming the new women who inspire me, because they're kind of taking those steps that when Diana left the Supremes, it destroyed the nation. But we also see what the power of her moving on with her solo success was for the culture. So I'm seeing the young girls also mimicking some of those moves that the original divas did towards their greatness. So we're beginning to see kind of a new, kind of the 2.0 of what these original OGs did, I think.
What are your thoughts on Beyonce?
I love her.
I'm sure.
I love Beyonce. I would never say anything negative about her because I
Nor
wouldn't
do
want
I
the
want
beehive
to.
on me. But what I will say about her is she's been, as I've grown to see her evolve. One great story I tell in the book is how when my man, same Anthony that we're referencing, took me to Manila for my birthday in 2007 to see her.
Oh.
And this is because he missed her domestically. And this was the B-Day tour. Mm-hmm. So we looked at the dates in Asia and knew the publicist. So we worked out Manila as where we would go see her abroad.
Wow.
As we're doing a meet and greet, we're just having a lovely meet and greet time. This is a little bit before Jay-Z comes out. Mm-hmm. I mean, before she's out with Jay-Z.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, right. Look, I'm not trying to bring
announcements here
Beyonce. We're not trying to bring you out the closet like that. But
we
anyway,
understand.
But that said, she says, you've got a great guy. He brings you over here for your birthday. And I said, well, hey, I hear you've got a great one too. And we kind of did our own little personal.
That was a you and Beyonce moment?
Me and Beyonce moment. She received it.
Really?
And so now as we're leaving the meet and greet, Anthony says, don't forget to snap for the kids during the show. That's a line from one of her songs, Get Me Bodied. And I'm like, why would he say something corny like that? And she says, I won't forget to snap for the kids. She says, where are you sitting? He tells her where we're seated. At the end of the show, she says, where are my boys from America? She comes to that.
No.
And she says, this is for you. She sings me happy birthday.
Are you kidding me?
Beyonce.
Stop it.
Now, I've seen her many times since, but I underscore her goodness by sharing that anecdote.
And how amazing to be in the moment there. And as a performer,
yes,
she's in the moment.
Yes,
you're in the moment. Yes. I'm in the moment. We try to be, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like even during this talk right now, I'm thinking, is the audio still working?
Right. Like we multitask in our minds.
How much time have we talked? Because should this be 2 segments or 1 or whatever? And so to stay in the moment
and in
like
my mind,
that,
I'm saying, oh, this could go on forever. That's what I'm saying. And
in my mind, I'm thinking, I love this guy.
This is good.
Now I want to meet Ant.
Yes, and you will.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to just we're going to move in now.
Yes. Well, look, you're a stone's throw from me.
Yes.
So, you're the girl from Jersey. I'm going to be the best girl's friend from Jersey.
I love it. So we have the Happy Hour talk show. We have That's What Friends Are For. And if people want to get in touch with you, where can they just find you immediately?
Find me Instagram at Patrick, PATRICK .RILEY. And that will lead you to everywhere else and all the other platforms. Great, vibrant energy in my social media. I'm sharing nonstop. I guess I'll be sharing about you a lot in the coming weeks and months. So this is good stuff.
It's great to have
you here.
Thank you
for having me. I
am now in love with you.
This is a dream.
What letter in my pronoun could that be?
Well, you can just be S.
Heart. A heart.
S for
I'm just going to start
sensational.
promoting symbols now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to Prince.
Yeah. Yeah.
No letters, just symbols. Erin loves Patrick.
The Erin for the artist formerly known as Erin.
And Patrick.
And that'll be with a heart.
Thanks
Well, thank
for
you.
watching. Thank you for being here. Bye, everyone.